Hi, my name is Graham Perks, and today I'd like to tell you about Lord of the Rings Duel for Middle-earth, which is a two-player game, as you might gather from the duel aspect. And it's Lord of the Rings themed, so it is hobbits and the Fellowship versus Sauron the Deceiver, the Dark Lord. If you've played Seven Wonders or Seven Wonders Duel, you'll recognize some but not all of the mechanics in this game. One mechanic you won't recognize is this excellent tracker here, where we've got hobbits with the ring and the Nazgul on horseback here, and of course the hobbits are trying to get the ring over here to Mount Doom, and the Nazgul are trying to catch the hobbits and take the ring from them. So during the game the hobbits will make their way along this track here, aiming to get to there, Mount Doom, where they'll throw the ring into the fire and immediately win the game. The other player is trying to move the Nazgul along their track to catch the hobbits. And if the Nazgul reach the hobbits, they will take the ring, they will kill the hobbits, and the game will be immediately over with Sauron having won. We'll put it back here, and the hobbits on their first circle here, and that's how you begin the game. There's two more ways to win this game as well. One is to do it with this map here. There are 7 regions here on the map. If you have influence in all 7 regions, you immediately win the game. There are also 6 races in this game that you can recruit as allies to you, and if you get all 6 races on your side, you immediately win. Races are represented here by these green cards, so we have elves here, dwarves, these are humans. If in the cards in front of you you've managed to collect 6 different races, you immediately win the game. So that's 3 ways to win. Get the ring into Mount Doom, or be caught, dominate the map militarily, or recruit 6 races to your side. If by the end of the game, when we've gone through all of the cards, no player has managed to do any of that, which is what happened with my wife and I on the first game, then the tiebreaker is who has most regions under influence on the map. And if that's tied, well, everything's just tied up and you both share the victory. I've set the game up here for Chapter 1. There are 3 chapters to play through here. The box will tell you this slightly unusual arrangement. The box does tell you the 3 layouts once for each chapter. But in this one there's 2 face up, 3 down, and so on, and so there's 6 face up visible cards here that you can choose from. And I'm going to have to start again because I've just realized I messed up the layout. These cards here in the second to bottom row should be face down, so let me fix that. Now I've laid these cards out for Chapter 1 with these 6 cards available to each player. There are the 3 chapters. There are 3 cards left over after you've laid out the cards. Nobody knows what these 3 cards are, and so that introduces a degree of randomness to each game. The Sauron player starts with 2 armies here in Mordor, and the Fellowship starts with 2 armies here in Arnor. Fellowship starts with 3 gold. Naughty Sauron is already in the bank. Sauron will start with 2 gold. And from these tiles here, these landmark region tiles, I've dealt 3 out at random, and we'll get to those in just a moment. I've also placed the effect tiles for the 6 different races up here above the map. And if you're wondering why there's 2 different colors, when you get these ones in these first 4 give you ongoing effects, and these 2 here give you immediate one-time only effects. And again, it's the races, so we've got dwarves, elves, hobbits, humans, ents, and wizards. We'll get to those in a moment too. This is a two-player game, so turns just go back and forth as you'd expect. Ending a chapter and redealing cards out does not interrupt or disrupt that flow. If you took your turn last, the next player will take their turn regardless of what happens here. There are a couple of places that give you a second turn immediately. So for example, on the Nazgul track or the Hobbit track here, this little arrow pointing around says that you take another turn immediately following your current one. Other than that, the turn flow is never interrupted. So what can you do on your turn? The usual thing to do on your turn is to take a card, pay its cost, and lay it down in front of you, gaining its benefit. If you don't like any of the cards here, or you can't afford them, you can take one of the face-up cards and discard it. Add it to the discard pile, which will give you money. 1 coin, 2 coins, or 3 coins, depending on which chapter you're in. That's also helpful when maybe you can't afford a card, but you know the other player wants a card really badly. And you can be mean and burn that card so they can't have it. Yeah, it's all part of the game. So that's taking cards. Another thing you can do on the turn, instead of paying for a card, is you can take and pay for one of these landmark tiles. There's 7 of these tiles in the game, 1 for each of the regions on the map. And we'll get into what they do a little bit more in a moment, but the basic idea is that each one will let you put a fortress out on one particular region. Fortresses are good because that gives you influence in that region. So we said you can take any of these 6 face-up cards in your turn, and let's say a couple of cards have been taken. As cards are uncovered, like this one, they're flipped over and are now available for play. When we run out of cards, we'll take the next chapter's cards and lay them out, and we'll also refresh these tiles up to 3. They don't get refreshed as you take them, but they do get refreshed at the end of each chapter. Or at the start of each chapter, perhaps, is better. There's a better way to think about it, since it happens at the start of chapter 1 as well. Let's take a look at some of the cards. There's yellow cards like this one here with a coin there. That's 2 coins. If you take that if you take that card, I know it's not available yet, but later during the game, if you were to take this yellow card, it would give you 2 coins, and you just put the card in front of you. These blue cards with the ring on them, yep, if you take this card, that 1 ring will move you 1 space further on the track of your choice. And you'll see that these cards have a benefit up the top, and sometimes they have a cost at the bottom here. So this one shows a fist, or I think that's a strength or something. If you don't have a fist currently, then whatever you're missing, you can pay a coin to the bank in lieu of the symbols that you're missing. So here, for example, the Fellowship could pay a coin to the bank to place this card in front of them, and then move the hobbits 1 step closer towards Mount Doom. How can you avoid having to pay coins? Well, that's what these grey cards do. They give you resources, and you'll notice this grey card here has a nice big fist at the top, so there's no cost to it, so I could just take that card and play it right there, and then it would be Sauron's turn, and then on my next turn I could say, well, I've got a fist, I can take this card for free. I don't have to pay a coin. This covers the cost, and I keep this around. I don't lose it or anything. It doesn't go away. I can use that fist for later cards, and of course at this point I would flip this one over because it's uncovered, and so there's another kind of grey cards. These are sort of currency. There's strength, there's courage, ruse, there is books, and there is one more which comes out in the second era, and it looks something like a crown, and I'm just not finding it at all. Oh, that's bad luck, isn't it? But there is some sort of crown as well. Cards in later chapters get more expensive and more powerful, and there's another way to pay for cards that we haven't seen yet. You'll have probably noticed that there's another symbol up here in the top right. So here's a little horse, and this means that it will pay for a card whose cost is a horse. So if I had this card in front of me, and then we're somewhere in round chapter 2, and I see this card available, I could pay a heart and a fist, but I can see this horse here, and since I have the horse, that would just pay for that card. No problem. These link, they chain, and they allow me to buy a card for very little money. Green cards, I've already mentioned, represent the races in the game, and there are 6 races. If you get all 6, it's an instant win. If you get 2 of a kind, you can go digging through that race's effects, and the first time you get 3 different ones, you can go digging through those 3 piles. In that case, you would just take the top 1 from each of the 3 races that you collected cards for, pick from those 3 and put 2 of them back. And if you've got 2 of the same type, for example, let's say you've managed to get 2 wizard cards, you would take the top 2 wizard effects here, look through them, pick the one you want, and put the other back. These race effect tiles are quite powerful and well worth having. In the box you'll find a very useful reference sheet that details very clearly what all the race effects are. So for the first couple of games you'll want to refer to this to see what they do. And let's take a look at a couple. Take a look at a couple of these wizard ones, for example. So here's one. It just lets you move 2 spaces on the ring track. Let's take a look at an Ent one. You can destroy an enemy fortress. There's very few ways to be able to do that. Let's take a look at a Hobbit one. Oh, there we go. Every time you play a yellow card, so one of these coins, you can also move a space on the ring track. So again, these are pretty powerful boosts and well worth trying to get. And to get those, green cards are what you're looking for. Alright, we haven't talked about the red cards yet. Red cards are military, and that's how you get armies out on the board. For example, this one here lets you... There's no cost for this one. In later rounds these are going to cost, but here you can put 1 army in either one of these 2 places. So if it was 2 armies, you pick one of the places and put however many armies in that one place. So here I can play in Linden or Arnor, and I can just take an army and add it to Arnor in this case, for example. Or perhaps better, so now I've got influence, I could play it in Linden, and now I've got influence in 2 of the 7 regions that I need influence in order to win the game. Chapter 3 introduces a more powerful type of card. They're purple cards. For example, this one, 2 fists and a crown, but with it you can destroy an enemy army on the map, you can take one of their coins away, and you can move one of your armies around the map. So these 2 could spread out, one of them there, so now I've got influence in more places. Another thing you could do on your turn was buy one of these landmark tiles. So let's take a look at one of these. They all represent a region, which is where they're going to let you put a fortress and possibly armies as well. And this one gives you 2 rings, so you can move 2 spaces along the ring track. The cost is quite expensive, and they all have this first cost, which is a picture of a fortress inside a gold ring. So you count up however many fortresses you've got on the map already, and that is the cost of this one in gold coins. So right now I've got no fortresses, so this is actually 0. So then I've just got to pay these 3 masks, fist and 2 books. But let's say later in the game I had already got 2 fortresses out. That means I've got to pay 2 gold plus all of this. Fortresses are pretty powerful, and that's how you get them out on the board. Look at that. Let's say I got 2 of those fortresses. I have influence in 3 of those regions now. And these fortresses are hard to dislodge. Now's a good time to talk about the map. So yes, fortresses are hard to dislodge. armies can definitely be kicked out. So let's say Sauron took this red card here and decided to play one of his armies into Arnor. So there he goes. And now there's a conflict here. We've got different armies in the same region. Conflict is very simple. It's just 1 for 1, and it kills. So 1 Sauron and 1 Free People armies come off, and that's the end of conflict. There's no more conflict there, so everything's fine. If, for example, the Fellowship was able to get 2 armies put into Mordor, well, we would lose 1 army each, and there's still conflict, so we would lose another army each, and now there's no conflict, so that's the end of that battle. So conflict is just 1 for 1 until, well, last side standing. Now, if Sauron was going here in Rohan, even though the Fellowship has a fortress here, that's not conflict. Fortresses and armies in this game don't conflict, and it just means that both players have influence here in Rohan now. Since there are 7 tiles and 7 locations on the map, and each tile lets you put a fortress in one location, there isn't the chance to get more than 1 fortress in one place, so fortresses won't collide. If you are able to get the promo pack, there is an extra tile in the deck. It does not have a region associated with it. What it lets you do is take any face-up card, doesn't matter which row it is on, but any face-up card, and play it for free. I'm not sure I like this because it is a bit of an instant game winner. If it comes up and it's your turn and you can afford to buy it, you can just snag, oh look, I needed that 1 army to put down there, or I needed that last race, and even though I wouldn't normally be able to take it, I'll just take it and win the game, and there's nothing the other player can do about it. I'm not sure I love the promo tile. But both ring tracks have the same bonuses on them, so when you get to here you get a coin, here you can put an army anywhere on the map, here you take an immediate extra turn, and here you can remove an enemy fortress, and then if you get to there, you instantly win the game. So that's Lord of the Rings Duel. It can be quite a competitive, tense game, occasionally a little mean, but both of you are doing it. And the reason it can be mean is because you're both very aware of what the other person is doing. You can see that, oh my gosh, the other player has nearly got all of the 7 regions they need. So I'm going to do my darndest to make sure they don't get another red card. I'm either going to get it myself, or I'm going to destroy it and get some money, or I'm simply going to do my darndest not to let it be uncovered until it's my turn and I can snag it. And so, yeah, there's a lot of competition, and the same over the green cards. Suddenly somebody will you concentrate on that, and then the other player swoops up and takes a tile and puts a fortress out in a region, and you're, oh my gosh, I should have done that myself. And so, yeah, it's great. And then the next thing you know, whoosh, you know, they nearly beat you on the track. But you're not far behind, and maybe you've got more armies. There's a lot of, since there's 3 different ways to win, there's a lot of give and take. And do I concentrate on that one and try to beat that before they beat me on the map, or do I need to defend on the map and hold them off? And yeah, so there's a lot of this sort of tension and conflict, and it's quite a fun game. So yeah, give it a try.